Derek, this next game represents the halfway mark of the season for the team. Just where do you feel like the team is in terms of like coming together as a unit? Like where has it improved the most? Where does it still have room for improvement?
Yeah, no, I think considering I think where everybody was coming into this season, I think we're at a pretty good place. As you look at being around halfway through the season, and I think overall we're healthy, which was a major concern of ours coming into this season, and so I think that's a real positive because it that gives us our best opportunity to continue to get better. Um, when I think about things that we're doing better, but that we still need to improve in, I think we're starting to really defend at a higher level than we started the season over the last 3 or 4 ball games. I think we're doing some good things on that end. Uh, I think we've also improved our efficiency offensively because we're trusting the pass more and we're trusting our teammates more on the offensive end. And I believe that has allowed us to become a more efficient team over the last week or week and a half as well. In terms of growth opportunities for our group, I think being able to sustain our effort, intensity, discipline, focus for longer stretches in the game. Um, we've played well and we've won some games and we've had some bigger leads, but we still want to just, over the course of a 40-minute game, try to get, into the 30s somehow of being able to be focused, detailed, committed, intentional, purposeful in like every decision we're making for at least 30 out of those 40 minutes. And teams are too good to not be able to do that. So I think that's where we can get better. Um, and I think we have to figure out how to defend without fouling as well. Those would be two things that come to mind. Just doing a better job not getting teams to the free throw line.
Aria Schwartz, Winsider.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for taking the time. I had a question. This is the second time you're playing the Mercury this season, and I'm curious how the scout has kind of changed for you looking at this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think Phoenix has gotten, a lot better since opening day. You know, Sandy and their team, they had a lot to figure out, a lot of new personnel, and Diana Taurasi working her way back into basketball condition, and she's meant so much to this league. I think it's good to see her out there on the floor. But I think they've just gotten better. I don't know if the scout has really changed per se. Like I think Griner is everything really starts with her in the middle in a lot of ways. But they've gotten really good guard play from Bria Hartley and Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. I think players like Nia Coffey have gotten better as the season has gone on. She's shooting the ball good, and they're getting good contributions from their supporting players. So I don't know if it's changed as much as they've just gotten better over these last 8 or 9 ball games since we played them the first day, which means we're going to have to be better than we were that day in order to try and win.
Howard Megdal, next Hoops.
Coach, good to chat with you.
Thanks, Howard.
You guys so far this year are 4-0 at home and 3-3 on the road. I understand you're playing all the games in the same spot, but this is a trend throughout the league. I'm wondering what you're seeing, if any, difference between home and road, and if you can attribute anything to the home court advantage, despite the fact that you guys are all playing in the Wubble.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting data point. I wish somebody could explain, why things are remaining per usual for the WNBA. I think historically, home teams have had quite the advantage in the W, just based on a number of factors in terms of travel and what that means. But I think also when you travel with limited resources, I think that sometimes favors the home team But in this case, where everyone's working with somewhat equal levels of resource, staff, coaches, players, etc., it's interesting to see the differences. I don't know if the home games have, maybe if we look back at it more closely, if the home games are at certain times of day compared to the road games, and whether that factors into it or not. Some of it is, I don't care where you line up. If you're playing against a really good team, it's hard to win. And so, I think for us, starting the season, our strength of schedule was, was pretty high. And, we played some good teams, and, I think teams are starting to get better as well. But it'll be interesting to see where this nets out by the time, we finish this season. And whoever can find out how the heck the home teams had the advantage in the wobble, it's going to be an interesting case study to understand. I think at that point it proves it's probably more mental than anything, or maybe jersey colors, have a lot to do with it as well. We personally think that we're better in purple, and we played a lot of games in gold, and so we'll see if that maybe makes a difference.
Time for two more quick ones here. We'll go to Pavy H&B Media.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm good, Pavy. How you doing?
I'm good. Kind of piggybacking off the first question about what you guys could do better. When I actually asked Chelsea that after the game on Saturday, she mentioned guard rebounding. Is that something that you've seen and kind of a key point that you guys want to hone in on and become better at?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely want to continue to challenge our perimeter players to rebound the basketball better. We ask our front court players to do a lot in terms of defending and pick and roll, defending post defense, really helping captain our defense from behind the basketball. And a lot of times they're engaged, like physically boxing out or around the rim with their counterpart. And it's really incumbent upon our guards and wings to get back in, not leak out, not start heading towards half court because they're in a hurry to get to offense, but finishing the possession defensively with the rebound. And I think that's something that all of our guards and wings can improve on. So I think that Chelsea is definitely correct in that regard. And, I think as a team, it's an area that we can improve in, but we, as coaches, we talked about it a little bit, and because we've been turning teams over, in recent games, there's been less field goal attempts for us to rebound. And, if our defense continues to create that many turnovers, where teams are not even getting a shot at the rim, 18, 19, 20 times in a game, then it's going to be hard for us to win the rebounding battle if they're not getting field goal attempts. But I'd rather us lose the rebounds and keep creating turnovers if that's going to lead to wins for us.
Last one for Coach today, John W. Davis with the Insider.
Good West Coast morning to you, Coach. How you feeling?
I'm good, John. How you doing today, man?
Doing well, doing well. So what I wanted to ask you is, looking at this schedule, this is the last time that you'll have 3 days off before the end of the season. What have you wanted to accomplish in these days off where you're going to practice 2 days and you actually got to take one off?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to, try and do some things that will help us get better, but at the same time, respect the schedule enough to know that, these days are really hard to come by in this season. And so I think we still have to give the players room to recover as much as possible so that once we're kind of back in the bunker, so to speak, they have the energy necessary to push through. And it's tempting as a coach to, try and really get after it a little bit, but then you defeat the purpose of having the days off if you're just going to kind of get after it as though you have a game. And so I think for us, we worked on some things today that we feel like will help us get better. We'll do the same tomorrow, but we're going to try and be as efficient as possible, get in and out as quickly as we can, just to extend our recovery as much as we possibly can so that once we're back at it on Wednesday night, and we're kind of back in that every other day mode, we'll be thankful that we were able to get a little bit more recovery during this time. Thanks, Eli.
Thank you. Questions for Marie. We'll start with John W. Davis.
Hi, Marie. Good West Coast morning to you. How you feeling?
Pretty good, and you?
Good, good. If you could, if you feel up to it, could you share an update on how your ankle feels? And then also, what is it like to have that be 3 of the 5 players on the court when you have your roommates out there, you, Sydney, and Brittany? I saw you 3 have played together. So what was that like too?
So my body feels really good. My ankle too. Been doing a lot of rehab, and Courtney's taking care of me. So I think I'm making a lot of progress. And just with my roommates, we're having a lot of fun. I really enjoy the time, and the entire team makes this experience a lot better. I know it's not always easy to be locked in the bubble, and we are having fun though. We're having each other's back, so it's really good.
We'll go to R.E.A. Schwartz, Winsider.
Hey, Marie. I hope you're doing well. I'm curious, you've been on a few teams in this league, but what have you learned from the vets specifically on the LA Sparks that have kind of inspired you, or pieces that you can put into your bag?
I think especially from watching NECA and watching CP, and also a little bit from Chelsea, just the poise they have playing the game. And I've been rushing a lot my last 2 years in teams where I was at. I just didn't take my time, and I think that's one thing I really learned from them. Just when you catch the ball, look what you have. Take your time, be poised, and I think that's a really valuable lesson I've learned so far.
Howard Megdal, next Hoops.
Hey, Marie, how are you?
Good.
Question for you. The league as a whole is playing significantly better when they are designated as the home team. You guys are no exception. You're 4-0 at home, 3-3 on the road. I've asked different players about it. Some have mentioned the hype videos being something that helps. Derek mentioned you guys think you play better in purple. I'm just wondering if any of the things that go along with being the home team you think could possibly be responsible for this advantage, just in the way you think about it. You're even shooting 60% at home and 40% on the road so far this year, although a small sample.
Honestly, I haven't really thought about that. Half the time, I think the intro video and the way the introduction is obviously helps with the hype. I think we just got to do a better job as a team, not thinking about it as an away game, because at this point we're all here. So it's not necessarily we're away or at home. It's just a neutral place, court where we play. So we just got to make sure that we bring the effort every night.
I think that's all the questions we have for Maria. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Questions for Seimone Augustus. We'll start with Adam Grossbard, LA Daily News.
Hey, Seimone. This next game represents the midway point in the season. Where do you feel like the team is midway, and how does that compare to a normal season's midway point?
Obviously, a normal season would be All-Star break and everybody's getting ready to kind of relax and rest your body. But in this season, we're right where we need to be. We're continuing to get better every game, as opposed to the first, three or four games where we were winning every other. We've strung a few in a row together. And so now we just kind of want to build on that and continue to take care of our bodies and stuff like that. This rest coming up in this break time has been good and much needed, so that we can head into where we're trying to get to as far as playoff positioning and focusing more on the end of the road for later in the season.
Chris Camello, Nightfall Media.
Good morning, Seimone. I just wanted to talk about how the chemistry has really forward, especially with you in the second unit, and what your role has been with some of the younger players like Christina Nigwe and Taya Cooper and Brittany Sykes?
Just passing on knowledge. When we get into our huddle right after the first group go out to tip the ball off, we always have a discussion, and I'm always on them about bringing energy. You never know who's going to come off the bench first, but it doesn't really matter. No matter what, the bench mob pays attention to the flow of the game, and we bring what needs to be brung, whether it be defense, offensive efficiency, or just flat out energy and just getting after it. And that's something that the bench in this league separates the contenders from pretenders. And we feel like we have a bench that can take us a long way. And with the young legs, the youth that we have, it's just a matter of just making sure that they stay focused in on the things that they do well. And when they're out there together with whatever combination of players, that they just be efficient and execute, when we're out there.
Tukni New in LA Times.
You mentioned the bench, and obviously Raquana coming off the bench has been a huge lift just points-wise. What impresses you the most about the way she's been able to adjust to that bench role and how she embraces that?
That's her thing. After speaking to her, she says she enjoys coming off of it. To be honest, you get a chance to see the flow. That's what people don't understand. Like when you start, and I've been there, done that. When you start, you kind of have to create the flow as opposed to coming off the bench. You see where it's at, so you see what's needed, or you see where you can kind of attack and things like that. And so that's where Raquana has been great at finding out where she can attack. She sees what plays we're running, what defensive schemes the other team is running, and so she takes advantage of that, as well as using her ability, like her speed and quickness gets her a lot of open shots. Just running the lane and spotting up and letting a player like Candace Parker, who is very tough to defend, bring the rock down and dish her and find her in the corner. So that's been amazing, to see that growth over the last few games of her transitioning from the starting group to the second group and being able to utilize that same, focus and mentality to get herself going in that second group.
Howard Megdal, Next Hoops.
Hey, Seimone, good to chat. Want to ask you about something a little bit bigger picture. Overall this year, even though you guys are all playing in the same place, home teams are 38-24 this year. I'm wondering, I've talked to different players who have cited the hype video, have cited different uniforms. I'm wondering two things. One, if you think there's anything to that specifically in Bradenton. Two, you're one of the rare players who actually did even better on the road historically than you have at home. I'm wondering how you managed to psych yourself up for a quote-unquote road game.
A road game? I mean, we always had the focus of we all we got when we're on the road. And so it's no different being in Bradenton. We kind of have that road game feel, even though it does feel good to have our DJ Mowski mix when it's our home game and things like that. But it's still we all we got. When we step on the court, it's our team, our staff, the few family members. And so our focus is creating the energy that we need and then pushing forward through each game. Bradenton is no different. The only thing is we don't have to fly and all that stuff. But as far as how we come out and how we, get after it, it's the same.
Hey, Seimone.
Oh.
How's it going? So it's R.A. Schwartz with Winsider. You've been playing the 4 a fair amount this season, and I'm curious, in regards to that, how does your body feel? Do the minutes maybe tack on a little bit extra weight or whatever? And then a follow-up is, I want to know the history behind you picking number 33.
Yeah, you know what? I just said this the other day in a group meeting. I was like, man, I have a newfound respect for post players. We always talk as guards and posts, like who does the most work and everything. And I'm like, it's different for a guard. We worry about cutting off the screens, guarding faster people, whatever. Posts actually bang a lot. So I'm out there guarding somebody that's 10, 15, 20 pounds bigger than me, trying to bang and push them off the block and stuff like that. So I find my body being a little bit sore than normal, after games, but I feel good. I'm able to do what I need to do for the team at that position, and it opens the floor up a little bit more with people having to pay more attention to me, at the floor as far as my scoring ability. So that's been a good thing. And then what was the second part? I'm sorry. 33. I chose 33 because I couldn't get number 3, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Allen Iverson, and so the only number available for me was 33. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be twice. twice as good as AI. So that was like my motivation behind 33.
Last question, we'll go back to Tupni with the LA Times.
Seimone, you mentioned a lot your health and obviously being a veteran player in this league. That's really just the most important value you have, or the most important thing you have to make it through this season. As a first-year player on the Sparks, what's it been like getting to know Courtney and working with her during this season?
It's been amazing. Courtney's been very open and honest with whatever it is. She was like, always be honest with me so that I'll know what it is that I can do to help you in the process of whatever it is. And obviously everyone knows my medical history as far as injuries and stuff like that. And to be honest, she's been very optimistic about what she can do and how she's able to get me through the season and be ready for the playoffs, and not just ready, but really able to do whatever I want to do. And so it's been great to have someone like that. You constantly see Courtney studying. Like on our way here, she was in her book. She had like a coloring book that was like anatomy of the body, and she was like, she's constantly learning and figuring out new ways that she can, help people, help the players as far as like holistic or whatever it was. Like, I appreciate the effort that she puts into trying to make sure her players have the resources they need to be in optimal shape, optimal performance.